level, and we don't get an opportunity to really talk on the county level a whole lot. But there were some challenges, and there was a lot of money in this race. Don Bain reported back in March of 21st, but $500,000 was spent by Milwaukee County Executive Chris Abele, and that was at the time. I'm not sure if that number has been updated. But what kind of impact, from your perspective, Christine, did that money have on the races here in Milwaukee County?
Well, I mean, one thing that we felt that was absolutely critical was that, in the South Side, we did lose a champion for, for civil rights and immigration rights and working people's rights, and that's County Supervisor Peggy West. And in her race, he put in ultimately $77,000 for this position, in addition, as we know, to 4 other races that he tried to really support through this Leadership Milwaukee entity to really back their candidates. And we know that in the case of Peggy West, we really felt an obligation. We actually didn't really do much to mobilize the vote, except for really speak out when it became really apparent that, there was just a real professional, ongoing campaign that had been put in to really oust her. And I see it as part 2. There was part 1, and if people remember what part 1 was, in his attempt to take over the county board, he went to the state legislature and lobbied to turn our full-time county supervisors into part-time, and to take away their health insurance. And this was a tactic to obviously push people out of office who can't afford to not have to do a full-time job at a full-time pay and have access to health insurance. And it does affect also your ability to operate and to be as responsive when you have to work, to pay your bills in some other ways. So I really see it as it was like a 2-part punch. And, just really felt that it was super important to speak out for her excellent record. There's not one vote that was contrary to the interests of working families, and especially when it comes to blocking his efforts around privatization, and also we know like a living wage. But there's a whole host. But it's really around his economic agenda where I think, Abele headed in for her.
Folks, you're listening to the Joel Jocasta Show on NewsTalk 1510 AM WRD, Wisconsin's Resistance Radio Network. Christine Neumann-Ortiz, Executive Director, Voces de la Frontera, joins us on the phone. This is Dom. I'm in for Joel. Christine, when you say that Abele spent $77,000 on this race, what does that mean? Was that a direct contribution to the campaign? Was that to leadership? Was it for ad buys? How do you describe that money?
It didn't go directly, but it was in support of the candidate running against her, obviously to take her out. And to me, I mean, it's like unprecedented levels of spending in these local elections, and it means that you don't have a level playing field for a local candidate that can't compete with that level of money to hire canvassers, do advertisement, and that's really so all of those key things that are part of running a campaign. And that's why I think, and when we talk about the blue wave, I think it is a cautionary note. I think there is opportunity for people who have progressive values around social justice and economic rights to that are really disturbed by what's been going on in this country and are stepping up, and so that's a good thing. But I think there is campaigns are not something to take for granted, not to take lightly, and it means that with that there has to be a real grassroots organized effort to beat back big money, and because unfortunately, he put in a lot of money, and in some races it went his way.
Yeah, this blue wave, I turned to my friend and my assistant, Justin Kessler, right after the elections when we realized that although we had these huge statewide wins with ballot and beating back the referendum, that we had also had some huge losses. Peggy West, our county supervisor from the near south side, was the first Latina ever elected to a county board in the great state of Wisconsin. And so to lose her, I took it very hard, because I don't know that I would have run for office myself if I hadn't seen Peggy do it first in the early 2000s. So it was a big loss. And I'll add to her being a champion for immigrants, for workers. She was also a huge LGBT ally to me personally, and to the whole community. So just a huge loss. I did what I could, absolutely, to help lift up Peggy, but we just couldn't we couldn't get across that finish line, unfortunately. And we also lost Rob Hansen on the Greenfield School Board, who we know, so many of us know Rob Hansen well. He's a great progressive, formerly the chair of the Milwaukee County Democratic Party, and we lost him. He lost Tuesday night. So this blue wave, it's like I turned to Justin and I said, it's like God. It's just indiscriminate. I mean, it's taken out some good. We took out some good local progressives, and I don't know. I'm really struggling with that right now. I'm thoroughly perplexed.
I mean, just my own take on that is that I think each community is different, but I think especially in low-income communities, at least I'll speak to that, you have they're different challenges, and when you're competing against big money, it means that the candidates that have really shown a strong record to stand with us, or who are representing that and trying to bring that to a position, need a lot of support.